Got two legends here.
Hey, welcome to the Arthur Burghardt Show.
That's right. So we're going to start with Arthur first. Who's here visited Arthur already today or yesterday? We'll get to Rob, don't worry. So Arthur, I'm never going to get through this panel, I'm telling you. I could do this panel 5 hours with each of them. Their careers are so seasoned, but we only have like 45 minutes, so we're going to stay high level. So Arthur Burghardt, accomplished actor of stage and screen. And if you didn't know, he's also a playwright and also a poet. Did you bring any poetry with you, Arthur? Not to put you on the spot, but you forgot the poetry?
I forgot.
But Arthur has a 3-volume coming out, Arthur, that you're publishing? 3 volumes of poetry. 3 volumes. And also an Emmy winner. He wrote a one-man play for Frederick Douglass. And the TV adaptation of that, he won an Emmy for that. Look that up, it's pretty really good stuff.
Honestly, do that. Look up Mr. Burghardt's performance.
He's not just Destro and Devastator, he's a lot more than that.
It is a remarkable piece of art, and if you're an actor, it's something really to watch. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Thank you.
Welcome.
But most of you here know him as Destro,
Yeah.
Devastator, Transformer, Turtle and Dora. I can name 100 more, but I'm not going to have that much time. You're welcome. And beside him, Mr. Rob Paulsen.
Thank you, guys.
Who, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, I think you're on about 99% of the shows with Jim Cummings.
Yeah, we found a
He
way
was in
to
almost
get
every-
ourselves into every show. Thank you.
But you know him as Raphael in the original Ninja Turtles 87 series. And now he's the second turtle in the most recent adaptation. Is it over yet? Is that
I think we're in our final season now. I'm not sure.
last
if they
couple
aired the
episodes
last
still, but
episode.
Donatello, so he's played 2 different turtles. Bi turtle.
Hello. 2 turtles and 1 middle-aged white guy.
And you know him as Yakko on Animaniacs, Dr. Scratch and Sniff. Hello. Hello. Becky Duck, PJ on Goof Troop. Steelbeak on Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
Carl Weezer. Yeah. Swishing Finn on Bub in the Night with Jim Cummings. Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you. I'm so glad I'm medicated because if I weren't, all those critters would be coming out and Mr. Burghardt would say, "Get the hell away from me." Thank you, Christy.
And also, Rob is also an Emmy winner for picking his stuff. 2 Emmy winners and 2 legends in the city.
And I've learned that the Emmy and $5 will get me a latte, so I'm not going to give it back. But
And a multiple Annie Award winner also.
no, it's really a pleasure to be here. You guys have treated us so beautifully, and it's just an absolute joy and a privilege to come and hang with you. It's just a blast. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to start with G.I. Joe because I know, Rob, that was your
More
first.
than I do.
Oh, was that? We talked about it.
3 more than I do.
What, Emmys? No, I've only got 1.
You still have time to catch up.
Well, then what you got? Because I've been nominated for 3, but I've only got 1.
Yeah, but I'm taller than you.
Oh, good, and much better looking. Oh, wait, better looking, taller, more talented. This really
I'm
isn't
not more
fair.
talented than you are.
Shouldn't say.
No. You, Frank Walker, Michael Winslow,
Oh, Michael, he's
Michael
incredible.
Winslow.
and Mel Blanc.
Oh, got it. Arthur, thank you very much.
Called the man of 1,000 voices.
Yeah. No, as I said, as long as I'm not medicated, the voices come out. It's great.
You should be medicated.
See, that's the great. And let me tell you something. I had the good fortune of working with Arthur. When I first met you was like 25 years ago, and one of the reasons I'm having such a blast this weekend is specifically because I've gotten to see you again. It's such a joy to see you.
Is this the first time you've seen him, Rob, since G.I.
And
Joe?
listen, and the first time that I had the pleasure of working with Arthur, I didn't know you personally, and we worked on G.I. Joe together. And you and James Avery with whom you knew him, and I worked with him on Ninja Turtles. He was Shredder. You and James have the biggest, most beautiful personalities that come through not only in your characters, but in your performances. Because one of the things that you notice firstly about Arthur when you get a chance to work with him, you are like James, you gesticulate when he works. When you're doing Destro, you move like Destro. Very theatrical, and it's beautiful to watch. It just was a gas. So thank you, because that is an indelible, wonderful mark on my life. I really appreciate it. No, it's true. Because he is how he is. You hear his voice all over the show. And his personality is theatrical. It's big, and it's beautiful, and it's the way it's supposed to be. So as a young actor, when you're going, delivering lines like this, it's like this giant eagle. It's really cool. Okay, Rob. All your money.
The love fest here.
No, it's a blast.
I love it.
Great to see you, buddy, really.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about G.I. Joe since we're on that subject.
Yeah, let's talk about G.I. Joe.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
This man.
Oh, here we go. I didn't mean it for that.
I know you didn't. I'm humbled by all that because I don't think anybody gave a damn.
No, it's true, though.
We all give a damn.
I didn't know that. Yes, I remember that when James did the show. I don't think he did it very much.
No.
But we were in it more.
But he's like you, though. James was...
Wow, yes,
He's
yes.
the actor. He's a trained stage...
He's also bigger than me, though.
Have the bigger personalities, and you are stage theatrically trained, theatrically honed Shakespearean guys. I mean, you did Othello, he did Othello.
If we move a little bit behind the mic, and maybe make a little gesticulation, then you can help place yourself. Here's some water. Yeah, please. Thank you. It's my brother Chris.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, Chris, give it up for Chris.
The gesticulation, the little movement, helps place you when and where, and often how, and what's going on. Because if you don't know what's going on, if you're half the actor that you want to be, then you will not be able to transport the audience. And it's what we do for you that makes it. If we're not there, as you were saying, as Dwight Schultz, another great actor, was there, then you won't be there. And it's why actors were hung, lynched, burnt to the cross as witches and mountebanks, because actors like him, great ones like him, not me, I'm just a spirit carrier. Notice I said carrier. Did you get that, you guys? You weren't laughing. You got it, right? You weren't laughing. What's wrong with you nerds? Oh my God. You nerds are so quiet. Do I do that to you? Do we do that to you? Oh,
Yes.
If we were burned at the stake for this kind of magic, mimicry, if Rob and I are there tuning everything else out, such as the mics, picking up our voices, the peep-poppers, the fricative of posted sound, if you can tune all that out, and you can use some water, if you can tune all that out, and be there, then you will be there. And that's another reason why poets were characterized as being blind. You didn't know that, right? Yeah, okay. You know what the Greek word for person is? Person. The Greek word person means, are you ready for this? It's going to knock your socks off. Are you ready for this? Nerds unite! The word in Greek for person, meaning person, is by sound. I rest my case.
Amen. All right, so let's talk about G.I. Joe. Since we only have 30 minutes left. All right. So Rob, I know that was your first series. And so talk a little bit about getting into that voiceover industry, being in that room. How big was that room? Because I know that cast was full of legends, and the audition process and all that stuff.
So, I say, on behalf of all of us, thank you, Christy, for putting together Voice Chasers. You really have done a lot.
You guys know these guys are way underappreciated. So.
She has done incredible work on our behalf. Listen, I went to LA, probably like Arthur, ostensibly to do live action, and I was. I was doing TV and movies, but commercials. One thing you notice pretty quickly is that there are a million average-looking white 22-year-olds with SAG cards. And the opportunity to do animation came up in about 1983. The first shows on which I read were G.I. Joe and Transformers. I was there with Charlie Adler, myself, Chris Latta, the late great Chris Latta. And I knew of Frank Welker and Peter Cullen and all these other folks, but I didn't get the chance to work with them until I started doing animation. It doesn't take one very long to understand that the opportunity as an actor to not be limited by your visage is pretty great. So we get hired for things with our voices that we would never in a million years be considered for, especially as non-celebrity talent. And by the way, that's not false modesty. I understand that, and many of you take the time and are very sweet and saying, oh my God, really being very kind to us and asking for autographs and such. But the characters are the famous ones. I don't draw them and I don't write them. But we get the glory, and we are the ones who get to bring them to life, essentially. But to not be limited by the way I look was not only a cool thing when I was a kid, but now, oh my God, we get to go to work every day. Still, I got to be hired as a Ninja Turtle 25 years later. And so G.I. Joe and Transformers, which were the late great Wally Burghardt, hired me. And I was not one of the main characters. Arthur and Michael Bell, Jack Angel, all these guys were the folks who set the bar really high. And I have to tell you, Charlie Adler and I discussed this, it was quite intimidating initially. Because when Arthur does his thing, Welker does his thing, it is, like Arthur says, it's transformational. And when you're in a room with those guys and you're 25 years old, it's mind-blowing. And I'm grateful that I was not too intimidated and that I kept it up, because that high bar set the tone for my career. And the reason that I'm able to perform at a level like this is because it doesn't take you long to look around and say you either sink or you swim. And in Hollywood, there are plenty of talented folks. So I'm grateful that I've learned at the feet of the vocal cords of the masters, as it were.
You're in the theater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a theater guy I was a singer, and a theater actor. Then when I moved to LA, TV and movies, but voice acting that's been my gig. Right?
He said the word, Arthur. He said it.
Sorry. Acting has been my
He's an act. And
I got a couple of things to say about G.I. Joe.
okay, please do.
I almost left the show, first of all, and it was Chris who kept me in it. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Chris kept me in it. The producer said, no, you don't want to leave. I said, I do want to leave. I don't like this. And Chris said, well, what? I didn't like the process. I didn't like doing the show. And the reason why was because I thought it was obtuse and a glorification of war. And if anybody's been in a firefight, that is not, they said, well, look, Joe McCall was a Vietnam War veteran. You look at his hand and says, yes.
Yeah, I remember.
It's not the glorification of war, it's because we wish to stop terrorism and corporate warfare, which is what the guerrillas of Cobra represented. Corporations run wild. And ethnicity, such as the Scottish terror. Scotland, there was no terrorists in the world. I said, well, the scripts are obtuse. And they said, It's the way you read. Then make the lines heavier. Make them mean something, and give us something a little that we can play with. Like, let me call him an imbecile. Let me give a little aphorism to the line. Impatience does not make the heart grow any fonder. That kind of shit. That stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Kind of shitty stuff.
And so they couldn't say shit. What's your lady it? You know? Okay, good. Stuff like that. Make metaphors and put a moral in there.
Yeah.
Put a moral in there. And they said, okay. And give me a raise. No, we will do anything else.
But, you know, interesting also as well, that was the first, when I look back on it, I didn't know it at the time, but that was also one of the first mainstream shows that, you know, had action figures and all that stuff to go along with it, that had strong female characters as well. Morgan Lockton and B.J. Ward, right?
That was necessary.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't want to be a promoter for dolls. Look, yes, speaking of dolls, I think that, I believe fervently that people who work in that particular part of the medium are marionetteists, ventriloquists. You want to act and learn how to act, then you read a novel to yourself aloud or to somebody. Somebody behind the curtain. And act, I want to be an actor. All right, read a Jean Le Carré novel and do the lines, do the dialogues. Right. I believe fervently that the best actors in voiceovers are those with a deep theater background. I came out to LA, unlike Orson Welles, who was sober. When I got off the jet, I said the same thing Wells said. I said, hey, what a marvelous toy. Just exactly what Orson Welles said.
Kidding.
And I met Orson Welles, a long story.
He was on the G.I. Joe movie.
Yes. When I met him in New York, he said, young man, you have spotted mustard on your beard, and walked away from me.
Wow.
I was giving him a compliment. Yes, he did that.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, I just want to, a point that you raised. I didn't want to be an advertiser of action figures. We did make, now look, don't get upset with Hasbro. They're in business.
Yes.
And they gave us all jobs. And they gave us all an opportunity to destroy our stuff. But we made them $1 billion. Now I'm going to go back to Hasbro. I can't tell you what it is, but I'm working on something that I'm proposing to Hasbro.
Nice.
And maybe baby brother will.
Hey, man. Anything, Mr. Burghardt, as long as yes, if I can bask in your glow, that would be a pleasure.
Oh, stop that.
But, listen, let me tell you something. Arthur made a very good point, a very salient point, because there is no question. Like, this is called show business, and obviously the action figures make people a lot of money. However, the thing that's so great about these conventions, and the ubiquity of which is unquestioned, I mean, they're springing up like zits on a 12-year-old all over the place. But that's great, because it really gives us an opportunity to come and see and meet people and find out the extent to which these characters have made an indelible mark on people's childhoods and their hearts. And, you know, there's money involved. However, we would not have known how deeply people are affected by all these characters. And it's not, and ultimately when people stand in line and drive for hours and pay their money and wait to come and speak to us, it is not about money, it is not about action figures, it is not about ratings, it is about a pure expression of appreciation and joy for the work that we've done on these characters. And I promise you, I never would have known that were it not for these opportunities. And it is an invaluable thing for us to hear all these incredible comments.
Wow.
It's remarkable.
There are more people here that showed up for Bill Shackford.
Right? I know. And they've got Pinky and Cobra. And it'd be crazy.
Even in Canada,
Yeah.
there was a guy, I forget his name, who plays Chris, who imitates Chris' voice.
Yeah. Well, Chris
And
Lawrence.
then, and there was, I'm grateful that you guys are here.
Yeah.
Look at this. It's amazing.
It doesn't mean a
I'm
lot.
also humbled by
That's the word.
you people. You, forget it. That sounds, these days, that sounds both ethnic and racist and sexist and all that stuff. That don't need to be. But I'm humbled by you folk.
Yeah.
You folks, you people, you cosplayers, you Destro lovers, and Paulsen lovers.
Isn't it? And we're talking about a show, you guys, that we made 30 years ago. And look at this. There are many people here who were not born, Haley, when that show was made. And as a result of all these new platforms, yeah, and I'm not far behind you, pal. I mean, our people don't know this, but Arthur and I were both the entertainment of the Last Supper. He was the entertainment, I was a busboy.
I was a star of One Life to Live.
That's right, he
He
was.
was.
When I was in high school, that's right, I recall that.
The underpinnings of the theater, you can tell people walk out of motion pictures unsatisfied because many of the actors in there have no grounding. Some are righteously and correctly stars. I was supposed to be in the movie Glory to play Frederick Douglass. In 1989, I had to go to jail for my old drunk driving. I was in jail for 9 months, wrote the motion picture Mariner in jail. Right. And G.I. Joe was starting up again, and Royce Lamar did it. No, I was in jail for that. You know, I'm an alcoholic. I don't tell people that. I don't tell people, no, but you see, I'm the kind who dies. And we don't talk about that because I believe anonymously, well, you have the desire to seek and do God's will. If you are good, people will notice it. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you are moving people, they notice it. Your job is to do the job, shut the f and go on with your life. And not get anybody else. Not tell Rob what to do, not run the show, not control. When I was on G.I. Joe, I was a little bit of a controller until somebody, shut up. Do your job. Do your job.
Amen, Arthur.
Be part of the ensemble. And I can shut up now and let Rob say something.
All right.
You know,
All right, so, I'm gonna rewind now.
you are fantastic.
I love you guys.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Please. So, can we talk about that recording session? How many people were in that room? Because that cast is so huge. How many people were recording at one time?
It would vary, but I certainly always prefer to have the other actors with me, always. And as I recall, in G.I. Joe, Transformers, all those things at the beginning, and subsequent shows on which I was lucky enough to work, virtually always the actors were together, and it's way, way better. Way better.
Of course, yeah.
That old phrase that a high tide raises all boats is absolutely true with ensemble performance. And when you're in a room with Welker and Tress MacNeille and Billy West and Arthur and Jack Angel and Michael Bell, and it just goes on and on and on. Everybody feeds off everybody else, and irrespective of whether or not an improvisation makes it into the show, that's really not the point. It raises the energy and the bar for everybody, and I can almost guarantee you when I watch something, I can tell whether or not the people were able to perform together. It makes everybody better, and I much prefer that.
The new anime allows us to have, what we couldn't have before, you asked about the film, nuance, facial features, allowing vocal features, so we can do not just a straight line, but the ticks, scratches, the onomatopoeia, the plosives, the things that make speech possible, the little bits and pieces, the philosopher of language, everything, the everything of language that allows for the total experience to be, close your eyes, seen. This is seen.
Thank you. So, Wally Burr,
Wally Burr, God bless
voice
him.
director at GI. We just lost him
A couple months ago, he was probably 85, 86.
Yeah. Can you guys talk about some of those experiences with him?
Wally Burr, firstly, Wally Burr was a Marine, and as such was a tough son of a bitch. And I mean that in the most complimentary way. I remember going into a session once, a pickup session for G.I. Joe, and Wally came out of his office with this place. Remember that place on Hollywood Way?
Yes.
And I went upstairs, Wally came out of the back, and he had a couple of stitches. And I said, what happened? He goes, the phone guy came in here and he was pardon me, was around, so I had to drill him. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, he started giving me a bunch of lips, so I smacked him, he smacked me back, he caught me good, but I got him real good. And it was true, he hit the phone guy. But you know what? That man really was very patient. He did not suffer fools, but he gave me a crack and continued to hire me. And he and Don Jewish, who produced that show, were kind enough to give me and my cohorts, Charlie Adler and folks my age, a shot. And I will be forever grateful to Mr. Burr. He really did. He let me come in and play with these guys. It was cool.
Arthur, what did you think of
Wally hated my guts. We did have a love-hate relationship.
That was not unusual, by the way. You're not the only person who really had a contesting relationship.
Chris, he wouldn't hit me like that. He wouldn't hit me like that.
No.
I
Wally would never
ripped
take.
his fucking ass.
No. Wally never would have done it.
You hit an actor and you're in trouble, by the way. I'm serious. Yeah. We'll never direct in this town again, or any other town. The phone guy?
Wow, that was because the GTE phone guy was ridiculous. No, but let me make a mistake. Wally didn't become physical with actors. He was just a tough guy, but he did not suffer fools. He didn't, I did not have a contextual relationship with him.
Well, I
you
did.
and others did. Chris Lotta did too.
I did. And the reason why, he wanted to do things for the cartoon series that we couldn't provide, but could provide with the little sound that you make when you fight. Okay.
I do that shit out myself all the time. These people are going to beat myself up. I say I can't help it.
Or
20 years of still
acting?
acting.
my brother and I used to do that stuff when we were babies. I know, baby. But Wally, I love Wally, and we don't speak of people's past, and I love him still. But I walked out once, and I said, you're not firing me, mother. I'm gone. Walked outside. I think he followed me. And I came back, and I said, all right. no more shows. I'm done. I'm gonna finish this one because I'm an actor. Finish the job, you know. And I use bad language with it. And I just use bad language. We're okay, guys. I didn't want to do all of that. And I thought we had the taste. But he said, no, we haven't got it quite right. It's in here. Now that I'm a producer myself, for Frederick Douglass, now that I'm a producer, and for some of the specials that we're doing, and some of them are going to be in voiceover, and there's surprise, I've got a surprise for you guys, coming out of NPR. I've got a surprise, 2 of them. You'll knock your socks off. But what I now hear as a directing producer, as a writing producer, he was hearing as a director of somebody else's work. And I am grateful for that. That my attention to detail, because of him, does that make sense? My attention to detail, if the script has an overall, really stop, singularity of concept and simple, and you adhere to it, then it will work. It's going to be simple. It's going to have a simple concept, overawing in its simplicity. Oh, wow. Okay. It moves. There's beginning, middle, and end. It brings you in. Oh, one other thing. Suspend information, too. Don't tell them everything. Jump. From Jump Street. Don't tell them everything. Oh, white folks stealing our hit, man, from Jump Street. You know, it was us. We were telling you the black community again. You know what I mean? You know, stuff like that we can do now and have the people do it on animation, and we couldn't do that. And Wally saw the only way with those stiff faces we could do that was to provide clear sound that illuminated what was happening to us in combat, in walking, in endeavoring to do anything, like sitting down at the table, all right, you know what I mean? And sitting down, that kind of thing. If you add, you know, yeah, come on, man, get in here. Let's take off.
Hold on.
We're unfortunately out of time.
No, we're not.
We are. These people have to get home for Christmas, Harper. People have to get home for Christmas dinner in 2020. So that's good. No, please. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Bob is the greatest.
On behalf of Mr. Burghardt and myself, thank you so much, A, for paying attention to what we do, and B, for taking the time and energy to come out and see us. It is not a small thing, and we are so grateful for your support and your kindness, and thank you so much for coming.
You guys are going to be here till 3 o'clock, so you guys can see him yet. So please come see him. Thanks everybody for coming.